Hello students, today we're going to look at chapter 2 section 3 which is all about dilations. And I first want to give you a definition of dilations and some background information, and then we're going to jump right into using dilations and figuring out how to use dilations. So the first thing that we need to know that our dilation is a shrink or enlargement of a figure by the scale factor K. So when I take a figure and I make it larger or I make it smaller by a scale factor of K, then that's a dilation. Similar to what you might think about as when you are on your iPad and you want to zoom in to the picture, you zoom in and it doesn't just widen this way or it doesn't just heighten this way, it goes in proportion so that you can see everything still in the same state, or I can't think of the word, but it's all about enlarging or shrinking a figure in proportion and by that scale factor of K. Okay, so how do we find the scale factor? The scale factor K is found by new over old. That's important to remember. It will not be on a formula chart anytime. It's always going to be new over old. So if I have my new dimension, one side, and I put that over the old dimension, that gives me my scale factor. It's important to understand that, and we'll use that in just a minute. But K is new over old, or scale factor is new over old. So here's an example that we might look at. The instructions say enlarge the figure by a scale factor of 3. Okay? So I have a triangle here, and I have all of the points on the triangle labeled. And you don't have to draw the grid, but if you could just draw a simple triangle that has those points next to it in your composition book, that would be great. Again, you don't have to draw the coordinate plane, just draw the triangle with those points, and then we're going to do something with them. So I'm going to give you about 15 seconds to draw that triangle with those points. Great, that awkward silence is over. So now we're going to go on with this. We need to enlarge it by a scale factor of 3. So the first thing that we always want to do is set up an algebraic expression that says I'm enlarging by a scale factor of 3. Okay, so here's what the algebraic expression looks like. We start with x comma y. That's always the beginning of our algebraic expression. Okay, and then we draw an arrow because that's always in the middle of our algebraic expression. And then we say, what is going to happen to each one of these points in my figure? Well, it's an enlargement. We got a scale factor of 3, so we're making it bigger. And so what are we going to do with that 3? Well, here's a hint that you always need to know. And I'm going to write this hint over here on the side. Hint. Always multiply the scale factor. Always multiply the scale factor. Let me adjust a little bit so you can see that. Always multiply the scale factor. We're always multiplying the scale factor. No matter what the scale factor is, we always multiply it by the old figure. Okay, so if this is the start, the rest of the algebraic expression is taking that scale factor and multiplying it by the x and the y. So it would be 3x comma 3y. So once again, with the algebraic expression, I take x comma y and an arrow, and then what am I doing? I'm using a scale factor of 3, and I always multiply the scale factor, so it's 3 times x and then comma 3 times y. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing for each one of these points. And what I forgot to do is label these. So this one's going to be J, this one's going to be W, and this one's going to be C. Okay? JWC. And so now, in order to find out what the new coordinates are going to be for this dilation, this enlargement, I have to multiply 3 times each one of these sets of points. So W, and we're going to call it W prime, because that indicates that it's a new point in my picture. And so I multiply 3 times -2, which is -6, and that's my new W point. And then for C, I'm going to multiply 3 times 1 and 3 times 0, so C prime, and that's just like a little apostrophe right there. C prime is going to be 3, 0, because 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 0 is 0. And then J prime is going to be 3 times -1 is -3, and 3 times -2 is -6. So now I'm going to use a different color marker, and I'm going to plot this. So what's -6, -6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there in the middle of that. That's W prime. And then J is -3, -6, -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's J prime. And then I have 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And there's C prime. And I draw my triangle. And I know I have lots of stuff in the middle. And so there is my new dilated enlargement of the figure that I had. So I know that's a lot of stuff, so let me just recap. When we're given a scale factor, whatever that scale factor it is, we're going to write an algebraic expression that multiplies that scale factor by the x and the y. X comma y, arrow, 3x comma 3y, because that's my scale factor. The next thing we're going to do is take the points that we were given and multiply the x and the y, the x and the y by whatever the scale factor is to get our new points and then graph it. For this next part, we're going to be given some information and we're going to have to determine what the scale factor is. Okay, so it says determine the scale factor, and A is -1, 4, and B is 5, 4. Those are 2 points that create like a line segment. And my new points, because it's A prime, is -0.5, 2, and B prime is 2.5, 2. And it's asking me to figure out the scale factor. Well, you'll remember from a while ago that K equals new over old. Okay? So what I have to do is just pick one set of numbers. Okay? I've got a lot of numbers here, but I'm just going to look at and I'm going to find the easiest one to deal with. Okay? So I've got a 4 and a 2 right there. I think that 4 and a 2 is a good one to deal with. So I'm going to choose that 4 and that 2. Now, I'm going to write the new over the old. Well, the new one is 2 because it has the prime next to it. So we know that one's new. And the old one has to be 4. Okay? So where did I get those numbers from? This is A and this is A prime. So they kind of go together. This is X and Y and X and Y. So I picked the Y's because I just need one number. And so I chose 2 over 4, and I simplify that, and my scale factor is 1/2. Now let's verify that from one of the points on the B and just see if that's true. Okay? So the B has this crazy 5 and 2.5. So let's just test it to see if my new over old is the same. So let's do new, which is 2.5, over old, which is 5. Now, 2.5 over 5. I probably need my handy dandy calculator. Oh, remember that from yesterday? Handy dandy. So I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator. What is 2.5 divided by 5? And when you do that, you get 0.5. Well, on the calculator, 0.5, but if I change that to a fraction, do I get 1/2? Absolutely. So my scale factor is 1/2. So I just found the scale factor by choosing one X or one Y from the matching points and did new over old to get my scale factor. That's why it's important to remember that scale factor is new over old, so that we can always figure out what it is if I'm given some sets of points. And here are your 3 practice problems for tonight. Okay? The first one says, write the algebraic expression for a scale factor of 3/4. Okay? Just what is the algebraic expression? That's all. And remember, it starts with x comma y, arrow. Okay? And then the second one, determine the coordinates after the dilation when k equals 2. So if I take these 2 points and dilate them with a scale factor of 2, what are my new points? Don't forget the little prime sign. And then number 3 is find the scale factor. If m is 4 comma negative 2 and m prime is 20 comma negative 10, figure out what k equals. Remember what k equals new over old? Oh yeah, right. So use those points to figure out what the scale factor is. Take a picture of those 3 practice problems and submit it through Edmodo so you can earn your ticket.